The SCP Foundation. It's the internet's strangest museum, filled with monsters, mysteries, and government-style cover-ups, written by fans pretending to be scientists. It began as a single creepy post on an image board and exploded into a massive shared universe of horror fiction. SCP stands for Secure, Contain, Protect, the official motto of the fictional SCP Foundation, a secret organization in the collaborative horror universe that captures and studies paranormal creatures, objects, and phenomena called SCPs. The phrase sums up their mission: secure the anomaly, contain it safely, and protect humanity. But half the time, it can't even protect itself. Sorry to interrupt, but an SCP just escaped containment and it's heading straight for people who don't subscribe. Ah, thanks. Cringe creation chaos? The story begins on the chaotic forums of Forshan in 2007. Someone posted SCP-173, a concrete murder peanut that snaps necks if you blink. A horror icon was born. The only problem was that the image came from Izumi Kato's sculpture Untitled 2004, used without permission. The site about rules and containment started with stolen art. From there came a flood of creatures like SCP-682, the unkillable lizard, and SCP-096, the crying stalker. Each new monster was crafted by anonymous users trying to outdo one another in edginess and gore. Fans now worship this origin story as grassroots creativity, but it was mostly insomnia and caffeine. The community calls it genius. Reality calls it chaos. SCP's beginnings prove that even stolen art and late-night memes can mutate into an empire of online nightmares. Ethics? Nah. The SCP Foundation supposedly protects humanity. In practice, it runs on moral bankruptcy. Enter the Ethics Committee, a group whose name might be the biggest joke on the site. Their job is to oversee experiments that would make Frankenstein blush. They approve tests where Class D prisoners are tortured, vaporized, or turned into human USB drives, all in the name of research. The motto, Secure, Contain, Protect, hides a darker meaning. Contain the truth, protect your career, and secure plausible deniability. Every file drips with bureaucratic cruelty disguised as science. The Ethics Committee debates questions like whether it is humane to feed interns to anomalies. Their verdict is always yes. SCP loves to explore moral philosophy, but ends up glorifying authority gone mad. The real horror is not the monsters. It is the people running the labs. Cult or book club? The SCP fandom insists it is not a cult, yet it behaves exactly like one. There are sacred texts in the form of containment logs and unwritten rules enforced with downvotes. Disagree with a popular author, and you are exiled faster than a failed experiment. Members recite lore as if it were scripture and worship fictional doctors like saints. The obsession with canon purity borders on religious zeal. It might look like a collaborative writing community, but it often feels like indoctrination. Criticism is heresy. Questions are betrayal. Maybe it is not a cult, but a very intense book club where creative freedom goes to die under peer review. Call it devotion, call it obsession. Either way, the Foundation is thriving on blind faith. Canon confusion? Trying to follow SCP lore is like reading a manual written by 20 different time travelers. One story claims the Foundation started in the 1800s. Another says it began after World War II. Others place it in the far future or an alternate timeline. Writers constantly retcon each other. The Wiki's continuity is a multiverse of contradictions. Fans defend this chaos as artistic freedom, but it mostly feels like narrative whiplash. There is no central canon, only competing egos. Ask 10 writers what is official, and you will get 10 timelines. The result is lore so tangled it could qualify as an anomaly itself. The only real constant is confusion. The Foundation can contain gods, but not its own story. Wiki.relic. Opening the SCP. Wiki feels like booting up a haunted computer from 2009. The design is ancient. The color scheme is gray on gray. Links break. Pages refuse to load. On mobile, it is torture. Every click feels like a test of endurance. It is the internet equivalent of an unkillable relic. The site still runs on Wikidot, a platform older than most of its fans. Reading an entry feels like surviving a cognito hazard. The layout jumps, text shrinks, and menus collapse without warning. Maybe it is intentional. Maybe the website itself is an SCP. Whatever the reason, the real horror is the user interface. Forget cosmic dread. Try editing a page without losing your sanity. SCP-173 Art Theft. SCP-173 is the original anomaly and the original copyright nightmare. Its image was taken from Japanese artist Izumi Kato without credit or consent. For years, that photo spread across the internet on merch, fan art, and video games while the artist gained nothing. Only in 2022 did the community finally replace it. 15 years late. The Foundation's leaders preach about containment, yet they could not contain their own plagiarism. The monster famous for breaking necks also broke copyright law. The site survived countless fictional breaches, but almost lost everything to one very real legal issue. If irony were an anomaly, this would be it. Trademark turbulence. In 2019, the SCP community faced a real-world villain named Andre Dukeson. He tried to trademark the SCP logo and name across multiple countries. His goal was control and profit, not preservation. Russian fan sites were threatened. Creators feared losing their work. The fandom fought back, raising over $140,000 to defend the project. After months of legal warfare, they won. The community learned a harsh lesson about ownership in the age of collaboration. The scariest monsters are not fictional. They are businessmen with paperwork. The battle against Duxon proved that the Foundation can unite when threatened, but it also exposed how fragile its open model truly is. The Teenage Succubus. SCP-166, known early on as the Teenage Succubus, was a disaster in tone and ethics. The story portrayed a minor through an uncomfortable sexual lens that horrified readers. Critics accused the author of fetish writing disguised as horror. The backlash was immediate and loud. The entry was rewritten, removing the exploitative elements and reframing the character as a symbol of lost identity rather than fantasy. It was an ugly but important turning point. The wiki finally confronted its lack of boundaries and introduced stronger content rules. SCP-166 showed that even in horror, respect matters. The Foundation can contain demons, but not poor taste. Fiction meets scandal. Dr. Jack Bright was once the face of SCP humor, an immortal scientist's love for mischief and dark comedy. Then allegations of grooming surfaced against his real-life creator. The community reacted with shock and disgust. The author was banned. Fans mourned the loss of a character they adored while wrestling with whether to separate art from artist. Some deleted Bright from their stories, others rewrote him entirely. The controversy forced the fandom to face reality. Behind the fiction are real people capable of harm. The immortal doctor became a reminder that even beloved icons can fall. The Foundation could not contain the fallout. Rainbow Fallout. In 2018, the SCP Wiki replaced its usual logo with a rainbow version for Pride Month. It was meant as a simple show of support for LGBTQ+ fans. Instead, it triggered a meltdown that revealed the fandom's darker side. A small but loud group accused the staff of ruining immersion and politicizing horror. Harassment followed. Slurs and threats flooded discussion threads. Some members even created a breakaway site to escape the supposed corruption of inclusivity. Through it all, the staff refused to back down. The rainbow stayed. The episode proved that the real monsters are not in the database. They are in the comments. Lord Bung Meltdown. Lord Bung, a popular SCP animator and moderator, became the center of chaos after accusations of abusing authority. Users claimed they silenced critics and deleted dissenting opinions. The scandal cracked open the Foundation's secretive moderation structure. Fans split into two camps, one defending Bung as misunderstood leadership and another demanding reform. The drama forced the wiki to review its policies and increase transparency. For a community built on stories of control, it was ironic how little control they had over themselves. The meltdown reminded everyone that power, even online, corrupts fast. Snob Central? Joining the SCP-Wiki is harder than surviving a containment breach. New writers face a gauntlet of downvotes and elitism. Veteran authors guard their house style like it is sacred scripture. The result is a creative fortress where fresh ideas die at the gates. Submissions that do not fit the unwritten rules vanish into deletion logs. It is less a community and more an exclusive club where praise is currency and criticism is heresy. The site celebrates collaboration while quietly strangling it. The irony is almost poetic. A project built on imagination now fears imagination the most. Critique Witch Hunt. Offering feedback on the SCP Wiki is a dangerous sport. Point out that an entry feels repetitive and the pitchforks appear. Fans label critics as toxic. Popular authors hide behind their fan bases. Constructive criticism becomes a death sentence for reputation. The echo chamber grows louder. The stories duller. Mediocrity thrives under the banner of respect. The horror that once came from creative tension now comes from social fear. The wiki's comment sections are more terrifying than any monster inside its files. Legal Panic 173. For 15 years, SCP fans lived under the shadow of one possible disaster. The day Izumi Kato might sue for the unauthorized use of his sculpture. Entire threads were devoted to panic and speculation. Every time a lawyer's name appeared online, fans expected the apocalypse. When the image was finally replaced, relief spread like a containment lockdown lifted. It was proof that the world would not end, but also a wake-up call. The Foundation survived the threat, yet the event exposed how fragile its success was. Containing anomalies is easy. Containing copyright law is impossible. Hype train crash. At its peak, SCP dominated YouTube. Markiplier screamed. Game developers built adaptations. The wiki was a cultural phenomenon. Then came the crash. Oversaturation hit. Fans argued over lore. Writers quit. The golden age faded into nostalgia threads and endless debates about which era was better. Now the site feels like a museum of half-finished brilliance guarded by bickering curators. SCP went from revolutionary to routine, consumed by its own success. The community's greatest fear is not monsters. It is irrelevance. Stat sheet sellouts. Once upon a time, SCP was about psychological horror. Now, it is about power levels. Fans turned cosmic dread into math equations. Every creature became multiversal or hyperversal. Discussion threads read like superhero wikis instead of horror forums. The tension of unknown forces was replaced by strength rankings and versus debates. It is Dragon Ball Z with paperwork. The soul of SCP was subtle fear and mystery. The new generation treats it like an arms race of imaginary gods. The result is impressive in scale, but empty in feeling. Horror cannot breathe when it is smothered by statistics. Moralizing mess. The Davites, once written as terrifying conquerors, were reimagined in SCP-6140 as misunderstood victims of imperialism. The rewrite turned ritualistic killers into tragic heroes. Some fans praised the depth. Others called it moral posturing. The debate raged for months. The story tried to mix ethics with horror, but ended up pleasing no one. SCP was built on ambiguity, not sermons. The rewrite proved that good intentions can ruin good storytelling. Sometimes evil should stay evil. The Devites did not need redemption. They needed better writing. Bureaucratic nightmare. Containment procedures once grounded SCP in realism. Now they read like parodies of themselves. Each new file piles on absurd details. Titanium vaults, psychic guards, blood rituals, chanting monks. Fans joke about playing containment bingo, marking every overused trope. The horror of simplicity has been replaced by bureaucratic spectacle. The Foundation feels less like a secret agency and more like a paperwork simulator. The scariest thing in modern SCP is the idea of filing another report. Toxic fandom taint? Beneath the creativity lies a swamp of ego and hostility. Moderators feud with writers, writers feud with fans, everyone feuds with everyone. YouTube channels expose the drama, while Reddit threads dissect every meltdown. The site's reputation for elitism keeps new voices away. Yet, despite the toxicity, the best stories still shine through, proving that passion survives even in chaos. The SCP community is its own worst enemy, forever balancing brilliance with burnout. The monsters are fiction. The drama is not. Doomsday Deja Vu. Every new SCP threatens the end of the world. Reality breaks. Gods wake. Universes collapse. Again and again. The apocalypse has become background noise. The Apollyon class was supposed to mean unstoppable destruction, but was used so often it lost meaning. Fans beg for subtle scares, but the wiki keeps escalating. When everything is world-ending, nothing is. True horror whispers. SCP now screams. The only thing left to destroy is our patience. And there you have it. What do you think of the SCP Foundation? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.